After 7 years of dating, Bradley Kane, who had never given me flowers before, sent me 9,999 roses and a set of lingerie for my birthday. I happily posted about it on social media, only for his ideal woman to comment underneath. Some people can only pick up the trash I don't want. That's when I learned that he had bought a house for her right below our marital home. The gifts he gave me were actually meant for her. I personally delivered the flowers to them and caught them having a candlelit dinner together. Bradley, without any hesitation, cursed at me. "Can you stop being so dirty-minded? Veronica and I are just discussing business. Besides, if there really was something between, would you have even had the chance to marry me?" In the past, I would have argued with him endlessly to get to the truth. But this time, I just casually tossed the flowers and my engagement ring at him and said calmly, "I wish you both happiness." The ring rolled to Bradley's feet. He sneered and stepped on it, crushing both my dignity and love beneath his heel, and harshly said, "If you want to marry me, change your suspicious and paranoid nature. Now, stop getting in the way. We've got serious matters to discuss. Go home and reflect on yourself." Listening to his familiar accusations, I felt an unexpected sense of peace. After leaving Veronica's place, I posted the news of Bradley's infidelity in the family group chat, telling everyone I was calling off the engagement. The man who never replied to my messages instantly posted a photo of his computer in the group, claiming just handling work with a female subordinate. Then he expertly shifted the blame onto me, saying, "Yasmin, you don't need to throw a tantrum just because I didn't buy you that $8,000 wedding dress. I never even brought up the fact that you used my credit card to drink at bars with male friends." The once silent group chat suddenly erupted. My mother was the first to jump in, berating me with all sorts of vicious words, telling me I wasn't worthy of Bradley and demanding that I apologize to him. She even threatened that if I missed out on such a good marriage, she would to prove her point. Seeing this predictable outcome, I sighed softly and exited the group chat. After my parents divorced, my mother became increasingly irritable. Growing up in such a stifling environment, I had been drawn to Bradley's seemingly gentle and polite demeanor. But after 7 years together, I realized that he was nothing like what he appeared to be. His kindness and patience were reserved for Veronica Jones. His courtesy and respect were for strangers. With me, there was nothing but endless cold violence and hurtful, sarcastic remarks. He was particularly skilled at provoking me into anger in front of others, watching me break down and cry, furiously questioning him while he pretended to be the understanding one, generously offering forgiveness. Everyone thought I was just an unreasonable, crazy woman. But this time he had miscalculated. Only those who are unwilling to let go cause a scene. A heart that is already withered will not be stirred by him again. When Bradley returned with a wilted bouquet of roses, I was lying leisurely on the sofa, scrolling through my phone. He scoffed, "Why haven't you cooked dinner? Still mad? Enough is enough. Haven't you always wanted me to buy you flowers? I got them, so stop sulking." He threw the wet roses in front of me. I used to envy the girls walking down the street holding fresh bouquets, their faces filled with happiness. I had mentioned it to Bradley many times, but he was always impatient. He scolded me, "If I'd known you were such a vain woman, I wouldn't have gotten involved with you. It's not that I can't afford it, but Yasmin, do you, an unaccomplished housewife who only washes clothes and cooks, even deserve it?" He accused me of being lazy and materialistic, conveniently forgetting that it was he who lured me into quitting my job with the promise of marriage. In Bradley's eyes, I was only fit to be his maid. He was too stingy to buy me a single rose, but had no problem gifting Veronica a house and a sea of flowers. Just earlier, I saw a post on Veronica's social media. They had taken a rose petal bath together, laughing and playing in the tub. After ruining those 9,999 roses, they picked out a few intact ones and brought them to me. I looked at the bouquet in disgust and kicked it away with my foot. Then I lifted my gaze to Bradley and said, "Seriously, I don't like dirty secondhand goods. I don't like dirty secondhand men." Even more, upon hearing my words, Bradley's face darkened immediately. He said, "Yasmin, what right do you have to talk to me like Don't forget you're living in my house. I'm the one supporting you. I wanted to retort. In the 7 years we'd been together, we always split expenses equally. Even after quitting my job, I used my own savings. Before I could speak, the oven beeped. I was too tired to argue with him, so I put on gloves and took the cake out. Bradley furrowed his brows as he stared at the cake for a while, then softened his tone. Is today your birthday? Today was my 30th birthday. It was also the 7th anniversary of being with Bradley. I had spent the whole day baking the cake by hand, hoping to celebrate together after he finished work. Feeling guilty, Bradley took the initiative to find candles and set them on the cake for me and hurriedly said, I've been really busy with work lately. I'll make it up to you. How about this afternoon I take you to pick out a new, bigger engagement ring? He sat down in front of me, his usual gentlemanly demeanor restored. Yasmin, there's no need to be jealous of Veronica. We did have a relationship when we were young, but that was years ago, and I've long since moved on. He said again. Had he really moved on? I still remember when we hadn't been dating for long. I brought him lunch one day and overheard a conversation he was having with his friends. They asked him why he was with me. He said, anyone is fine as long as it's not Verona. Back then, I was young and proud, thinking that sincerity could overcome anything. Looking back now, I realize how wrong I was. I had made a mistake one after another, and now I had to get out before I lost everything. I replied coldly, no need. You go ahead. I'll handle it myself. Bradley was stunned for a moment, but after years of me swallowing my pride, he had grown used to my submission. He thought I was forgiving him once again and smiled as he lit the candles for me. Make a wish, he said. Every year before, my wish was for happiness and love with Bradley, for us to stay together forever. But this time, I silently wished I want to be happy and free from Bradley for forever. After making my wish, I opened my eyes, ready to blow out the candles. But I realized Bradley had already disappeared. The cake I had spent 6 or 7 hours making had been knocked to the floor. He walked in such a hurry that he not only knocked over the cake, but also failed to close the door in time. After cleaning up the mess, I checked my phone. Veronica had posted a new update. I'm such a little clumsy girl. I was bumping into the cabinet while walking. Luckily, my Prince Charming is always there to protect me. In the comments, Bradley, who had ignored me even when I was in a car accident, wrote, whenever you need me, I'll be there for you. I liked the post. Moments later, I received a new message from Bradley. Veronica hurt her foot. I'm taking her to the hospital. Come over and clean up her place and make some bone broth to bring to the hospital. Don't put cilantro in it. Suddenly it all made sense. Bradley didn't have any dietary restrictions, but every time I added cilantro to a dish, he would explode, calling me a useless idiot who couldn't do anything right. It wasn't him who hated cilantro. It was Veronica. I thought about ignoring his message, but after hesitating for a moment, I headed downstairs. Bradley was holding Veronica, speaking to her softly. When he saw me, his face instantly hardened and said, why are you so late if Veronica's treatment gets delayed? Veronica gently tugged at his sleeve and said, Bradley, I'm fine. Don't be mad at Yasmin because of me. I know she's never liked me. Bradley scolded me. Enough, Yasmin. Clean this place up properly. I'm not going to marry a jealous woman who can't do anything right. With that, he left with Veronica in his arms. I watched his retreating figure and whispered, I wouldn't marry a shameless, cheating man either. After they left, I looked around the room. The bathroom was soaked with water, and in the trash bin there were 2 used condoms. A wave of nausea hit me. No wonder Bradley had been working overtime so much lately. It turned out that he would spend some time with Veronica downstairs every day before returning home. Upstairs, I glanced around Veronica's bedroom. It was filled with luxury brand items and expensive skincare products. I still remembered how just a few days ago, I had asked Bradley for a lipstick as a birthday present. He had looked at me with utter disdain while said, 30 years old, and you still have the nerve to celebrate? Are you trying to act young? Disgusting. Just stay home and do your chores. No amount of expensive makeup will make you 20 again. I would never be 20 again. But Bradley never lacked 20-year-old girls around him. His so-called ideal woman, Veronica, was probably just as favored among them. I took a deep breath and started taking pictures of everything in the room. Then I returned upstairs to pack my things. In the 7 years we had been together, Bradley had given me a few French kitchenware, a robot vacuum cleaner, and a master-crafted knife set. I decided to leave all these behind for him. As I packed, I couldn't help but laugh at myself. Veronica's things downstairs filled the room, but in this place where I had lived for years, everything I owned could fit into one suitcase. When I was done, I called my best friend, Meryl Jane, who was overseas. After 3 missed calls, she finally picked up. I held back my tears and said, "Meryl, I was wrong. I shouldn't have given up my career and my life for Bradley. I regret it. I want to come find you." Meryl called me a fool and said I deserved it before hanging up. I sat in the empty room, sadness overwhelming me. Flashes of all the time she had tried to talk sense into me came to mind, and I remembered the look of disappointment on her face when she left. As the tears started falling, a new message popped up on my phone. Meryl had bought me the earliest available ticket 3 days from now at noon. The tears I had been holding back for so long finally burst out, tears for myself and for the 7 years I had wasted. I sat at the edge of the bed that night, staring at the open suitcase on the floor. A suitcase far too small to contain 7 years of a relationship. What I felt most wasn't anger, but an overwhelming emptiness, as if everything I had been during those years had disappeared along with the cake smashed on the floor. I didn't know what was coming next, but I knew I couldn't stay here a moment longer. Bradley had left, as he always did, probably to comfort Veronica. Meanwhile, I was here alone, cleaning up both the physical and emotional mess he had left behind. The candles he had stuck on the cake were thrown in the trash, and the sweet scent of frosting still lingered in the air, a scent that now only filled me with disgust. I called Meryl again. She answered on the second try, her voice tired but firm.
"I knew you'd call," she said.
"So, you finally opened your eyes?" I couldn't respond right away, feeling my throat tighten. "Yes," I whispered. "But I'm scared, Meryl. He's taken so much from me that I don't even know who I am anymore." Meryl was blunt. "That doesn't matter right now. What matters is getting out of there before he comes back and poisons you with more lies. Don't let him control the narrative again." She was right. Bradley had always been a master at twisting facts, making me feel crazy, small, and wrong for asking the bare minimum. But not this time. I was determined to leave, and nothing would change my mind. I began packing the few things that still mattered to me. Among clothes and objects, I found an old notebook where I had written dreams and plans for the future, long before meeting him. As I flipped through the pages, I found a list: go back to school, travel abroad, learn French, open my own business. It was a painful reminder of everything I had abandoned for him. While gathering the remnants of my dignity, I received a text from Bradley. "Veronica's not feeling well. Come here and bring the broth I asked for. And clean her place while you're at it." For a moment, I stared at the screen, almost in disbelief at his audacity. Did he really think I would rush over to serve his mistress, like some obedient maid? Part of me wanted to reply with a scathing message, but another part knew words would have no effect on someone so selfish and callous. Instead, I did something I never thought I'd have the courage to do. I took screenshots of every message, including the romantic ones between him and Veronica that I had discovered weeks ago. I made sure to include pictures of the candles and the ruined cake on the floor. And finally, I snapped a photo of my packed suitcase. Then I posted everything on social media, no filters, no holding back. Almost immediately, my phone began buzzing with notifications. Friends, acquaintances, and even family members reached out. Some offered support, while others, predictably, criticized me for airing dirty laundry in public. I didn't care. The truth needed to come out. It felt like I was exorcising years of lies and humiliation. Bradley wasn't far behind. He started calling nonstop, but I declined every call. Then the texts came. "Delete that now, Yasmin. You've gone too far. Stop being childish. You're not going anywhere. Come home and we'll talk." Each message only strengthened my resolve to leave. He wasn't worried about me or our relationship, only his image. The more he tried to manipulate me, the lighter I felt, as if every step toward freedom was lifting a weight off my shoulders. Suddenly, I heard the sound of the front door opening. Bradley was back. My heart raced, but I took a deep breath. I wasn't going to hide. I wasn't going to back down. He stormed into the apartment, his expression livid, holding his phone in hand. "What the hell do you think you're doing, Yasmin?" he demanded, slamming the door shut. "I'm leaving," I said, keeping my voice calm, though my heart pounded in my chest. "No more lies, Bradley. No more manipulation. You can have Veronica, the wilted roses, and all your deceit." He laughed, a condescending laugh he always used to unnerve me. "You're not going anywhere," he said, stepping closer. "You know you've got nowhere to go. Who's going to want you now after all of this?" For a moment, the old insecurity crept in, threatening to take over. But then I remembered Meryl's words, "Don't let him control the narrative." "I'd rather be alone than spend another day with you," I said firmly. "And you know what, Bradley? You're right. I've got nothing left to lose. That's exactly why you can't control me anymore." I grabbed my suitcase and headed for the door. He blocked my path for a second, but I met his gaze without flinching. "If you lay a hand on me," I warned, "I'll go straight to the police. And with all the evidence I have, you don't want to take that risk?" He hesitated, then stepped aside with a frustrated sigh. "You'll regret this, Yasmin," he muttered as I opened the door. "No one's going to want you after this. You'll end up alone." I just smiled. I'd rather be in my own company than live in this lie. And with that, I walked out, leaving Bradley behind, along with all the lies, broken promises, and the love that never really existed. As I stepped out into the night, each step felt lighter than the last. The cold air brushed against my face, and for the first time in a long while, I felt free to be whoever I wanted, to follow my dreams, and, most importantly, free from Bradley Kane. I felt the cold night air on my face as I shut the building door behind me. Each step I took seemed to lift a bit of the weight I had carried for 7 years. I walked to the corner and called a ride. The suitcase beside me was light, just like my heart. I didn't know exactly what lay ahead, but for the first time in a long time, I was certain of one thing. I was free. On the way to the hotel where I would stay temporarily, more messages from Bradley came through. He had switched tactics, moving from threats to concerned texts, insisting we needed to talk. I laughed quietly to myself. Typical Bradley, always manipulating any situation to his advantage. When I arrived at the hotel, I sat on the bed and let the silence surround me. For the first time, I allowed myself to cry. I cried for the lost opportunities, for every moment I accepted less than I deserved, and for the dreams I had given up for him. But I also cried with relief. The healing had finally begun. In the days that followed, I began to rebuild my life. The first step was to update my resume and start job hunting. I knew it wouldn't be easy after being out of the workforce for years, but I was determined to regain my independence. I reactivated my old social media accounts and reconnected with friends and colleagues I had lost touch with because of Bradley. Some were surprised to hear from me, but slowly, messages of support began to pour in, and I even started receiving invitations to catch up. It felt good to realize I had a life beyond Bradley. Meanwhile, Bradley's messages didn't stop. He swung between apologies and furious accusations, claiming I was ruining his life. Veronica chimed in too, posting passive-aggressive comments on social media about bitter women who couldn't let go of the past. I ignored it all. I refused to let them affect me any longer. One afternoon, I received an unexpected call from an unknown number. I hesitated, but answered. "Yasmin's?" The voice on the other end was Bradley's mother. She sounded tense. "We need to talk." At first, I considered saying no. I wanted nothing more to do with anything connected to Bradley. But in the end, curiosity won, and I agreed to meet her at a small cafe. She looked weary and disappointed as she sat across from me. "I know what my son did to you," she said, taking my hand. "And I want you to know I'm on your side. Bradley has always been selfish, and I'm sorry for everything you went through." Her words took me by surprise. I had expected criticism or excuses. Instead, I found a woman who understood my pain. We talked for hours, and she revealed things about Bradley I had never known: patterns of manipulation, previous affairs, and a history of emotional abuse. It was as if a veil had been lifted, and for the first time, I saw Bradley for who he truly was. After that conversation, something shifted inside me. It wasn't enough to simply move on. I needed to close this chapter for good. I hired a lawyer, and together, we prepared a case against Bradley. During our relationship, I had contributed to many expenses and investments under his name. Now, it was time to claim what was rightfully mine. Bradley didn't take the news well. He tried to intimidate me, threatened to smear my reputation, and even turn some of our old friends against me. But this time, I was prepared. With my lawyer's help, I gathered every piece of evidence I had: abusive messages, receipts for shared expenses, and photos of the luxury items Veronica enjoyed, things he never once gave me. The court date arrived quickly. Sitting across from Bradley in the courtroom, I saw the same arrogant look on his face, as if he was certain he would win. But this time, I wasn't afraid. I knew the truth was on my side. The judge listened carefully to the evidence. Bradley tried to twist the story, painting me as a vengeful ex trying to ruin his life. But the facts spoke louder. In the end, the judge ruled in my favor, ordering Bradley to pay compensation for the years I had invested in our relationship and the assets he had acquired at my expense. The look on Bradley's face when the verdict was announced was priceless. For the first time, he was powerless, unable to control the narrative. As I walked out of the courtroom, I didn't even glance back. That was the last time I would ever allow him to take space in my life. With the settlement money, I found a new apartment and furnished it exactly the way I wanted. I also enrolled in a French course and slowly began rediscovering the things that made me happy. I reconnected with Meryl, and together we planned a long-awaited trip to Europe, something we had dreamed of doing, but that I had abandoned because of Bradley. A year later, on a sunny morning in Paris, I sat at a cafe with Meryl, sipping coffee and watching the city buzz around me. My life had changed completely, not just because I was in a new place, but because I had become a new person. Stronger, more confident, and finally free. And Bradley? He was lost in his own web of lies. Veronica left him a few months after the court case, and he drowned in debt and legal troubles. His friends abandoned him, tired of his manipulation. And me? I moved on, without looking back. As I had wished on that last birthday, I was happy, and above all, free.